Spring has arrived. Welcome back to Granja Caimito. We just came in here a short while ago, which is why the grass is still pretty tall. There was a comment about me saying, no, it's ready to graze and the grass is still short. That's the problem that I'm always trying to tell. We have very degraded soil and I assume there is very little nutrients there. And because of the compaction, the grass won't grow very tall, despite the fact that you leave it grow for a long time. And there's more to say about this, but maybe not while we are looking at this. So I left a few things in the comments and I will probably address this later when there is another opportunity. But this has now the rest period that we like it to give. And this is looking very good. And now that we come into spring, so officially winter is now over, this is going to grow a little bit more than what you see. So especially there closer to that wall, you can see it. This used to grow as tall as the wall, but this is by late spring. So after this grazing session, it should then have a chance to do that. The mules today have a rest day and we let them graze here in the vehicle driveway so that they, like our horses, do some maintenance on the grass along the stone wall. And to talk about the grazing, so if you look at this paddock is not yet ready for grazing, but it looks very nice already. You need to take into account that all the mustard makes it like there were a lot more forage, but in fact there isn't. It's just because the mustard is so tall and makes your eye believe something else, or actually your brain, based on what the eye delivers. And I will now walk over to the wall behind me and show you the neighbor. So this here is the neighbor. They do set stocking with a larger number of sheep. I can't tell the count, but let's say it's 200. And those sheep basically roam free. They go wherever they find something and they continuously graze. There is no internal fencing. There is no management other than by tradition. And there is no consideration of soil or plants. It's all about how to feed the animals. And the animals are being fed purchased feed and are turned out because, that's where the animals live. So there's no plan, there is no anything regarding how to use the animals to improve the soil or the relationships between animals and the soil, the grasses and so on. So as you can see, this is extremely short, and you can see the soil here and there. So when I say something is ready for grazing, then I say that based on what we have achieved so far. While here on that side you can see how it was before. So this is now the very same moment at the beginning of spring. This piece of land had gotten the very same amount of rain, but it is in worse shape. And in my humble opinion, that is because of lack of nutrients, and the soil is probably also very, very compacted, and the roots are not very deep. So very early when summer starts, this will then be dry and the grasses will go dormant. Now let's pan a little bit to the left and Now you see, left and right, left is ours, how this looks like. So I can move the camera a little bit more up. So this is what we have. And the strip here where the mules are is not really a paddock, but we try to graze it the same way as we do the paddocks. So the paddocks are actually over there. So if I zoom in a little bit, and this paddock is not yet ready, but you see how it looks like. And that is different from what we have over here. And the people here in this area believe that every 5 years you are supposed to till and seed again the grasses, because according to their thoughts, after 5 years the grass is not strong enough to grow tall and produce enough forage. So they come in and destroy everything, then they reseed, and they do this in early autumn. Then they let the autumn and winter rains do their thing, and of course in between it's a bit cold, so the grass won't grow while it is below 5 centigrades. And then they let it grow during spring until it has gone to seed, and then they continue with continuous grazing. And after 5 years, if they have the money for that, they will then hire again someone to till the whole thing and do it all over again. And that is how it goes. And we are not doing this because we think that there's a better way. But we're not there yet. And I can mention this without being able right now to show this, but maybe when I edit this I can do it. Our grass is now at a similar stage as the grass of the neighbor who is following this approach. Not this neighbor, the one with the tractor on the other side. So this is the older couple with the sheep, and the other neighbor, well, I can point you in the direction. So the neighbor over there. So that grass is in a similar shape and situation like ours, and we never tilled. So we basically achieved the same thing like he did, but without spending the labor and the fuel and all that. So that's the difference. Over there below the tree, the grass is a lot taller, but that is because the tree provides a lot of nutrients. And this is not because of the tilling or animal activity, but when pigs are here, they sleep around the tree. So there's also that impact. And in the rest of the area, they just walk around and go to the next tree to find the acorns. So around the trees there's always better grass. Luck has it that I'm out on the road for an errand, so I can show you this. This is the area that I showed 2 times before. This was seeded, and the process was, as I mentioned already, in early autumn they tilled this, then they brought out the seed, then there was the winter and it rained here and there, and now it rained a little bit more, and this is now how it looks today. So this is how this grass could look like. I cannot tell what the species is, but this is their idea. So when there is money for doing that, that is how it goes. Till, seed, and keep the area off limits basically between early autumn and late spring after it has gone to seed. And there's almost no mustard except in some poorer areas, like those over there. unfortunately, at some point they will bring in the animals, let them roam free, and then it will be as equally bad as all the other areas around. I don't know the owner of this. It's not my business. I have no influence there, but I can tell you guys and show how it looks like. So this could be how it looks like everywhere, given proper management, I believe. Over the last few days, we had our bovine herd in here. This is our temporary paddock CT01, where the pigs used to be, and turned this into some sort of a desert. And the cows had been in here some 150 days ago before we let them in again. And during that time, with some rain, this turned into a very good paddock actually. And if you look closely, the stones also begin to disappear. Of course, this is still not enough to actually bury them, but at least they disappear. They're still there, and below the surface there's more of them, because that is how the ground is in this area. But definitely our treatment with pigs and cows has changed something here. And now this is after grazing. So now we will come in here and make the actual paddocks, and then do our rotational grazing the same way as we do all over the land. Of course, there are some areas like this. There we will rake the stones together a little bit. Angel is working on the rake. And of course that is something we might do then over summer. Summer is not that far away, but it is looking pretty good. So I would not have expected this. I thought that this whole area will be void of any plants because there is no seed, but apparently there was seed, and the intervention of the pigs and the cows made this come up. You see in the background, this is the area where the mules worked, so the seed is on order. We hope it will arrive very soon. There has been an issue with transportation in Spain, so we need to be patient. And when we have the seed, then the mules will come back and we will spread out the seed, and at that time I will then tell you what I have ordered. Some areas look like this, but in many places it is completely covered, so you can't see the soil. But here of course you can, and surprisingly enough this is under an oak tree. So if we pan around here, you can see that this is covered. Maybe not in every square centimeter, but it is pretty good. I would not have expected that. This here is a piece where there is a lot more stones. There used to be the entrance to that funnel, this gully here to the left. Let me quickly pan over, so it goes down there. And here we will definitely rake, but even here, because the structure further up, apparently there's less water flow and therefore more plants. Interesting in here is also that we have a lot of fungi, like these guys here. Let me zoom in a little bit more. So that's a positive sign of sun activity underground. As a first step to permit grazing in here, we fenced off the swale with the broad beans, because we noticed that the cows do like that type, so we better don't give him a chance to commit a slight crime. The last heavy rain event is now 2 days ago, so I'm a little bit late, but this part here is filled up well, and there is this high spot. We will take care of this during summer, and let's see how it looks like further down where the integrated pond is. Look at that. Here the beans are pretty tall already, and if I pan to the right, you see the part that is now in the shade but during the day was in the sun is definitely very different. It's not equal. And I wonder why that is. Too much sun during the day, or lack of nutrients? The compost material was pretty much the same. You see, directly side by side here, there's suddenly a sharp difference. These are the tall ones. And here we have the ones that are kept behind for some reason. This here is the high spot. There is standing water all over, but as it's higher, it's not as impressive and filled as the other part. And if I now pan to the right, see there is a larger puddle. And if I go fully to the right, you will then see that this is the beginning where the pond is at the end, and that is very filled. I will now walk a few meters in that direction, and then we will have a closer look. But like I said, we will take care of the high part during summer when we come in with the machine and make it a little bit lower. So this is how it looks like from the other side, and if I pan, you will see the pond. The step is definitely overflown, and here we come to the pond, and you see that this is pretty well filled, because now I have the sun against me, but you might still be able to see it. I probably have to go a little bit more to the right and film it from there. This can fill up more, and it is leaking, which is a good thing, and I will show you that leakage in a moment when I have a chance to get to the other side. So there to the left is the dam of the pond. The water level is somewhere halfway along, halfway of the height of the dam, and therefore it is leaking, and I walk there and you see more. So there you have it. It is definitely wet, and this is what comes out of the dam here to the left. It will be interesting to see what this tree is thinking about the additional wetness. But he probably won't mind, because he has long roots and has reached the water table anyway. Now the interesting thing is that water that leaks out of the dam goes down there, and when I walked with Angel here, we definitely decided that we are going to use his rake and make some little stone walls on contour, or stone dams on contour. Instead of digging, we use the material that exists. You guys have been talking about this, and I never gave a clear answer other than let's see, or like in a movie, people said sit tight and assess. So we have been sitting tight and we have assessed, and that is now what we are going to do. But not during the growing period in spring, but we will do this in summer. Because if we bring the machine in here right now, we will just sink in and destroy more than, and that's not a good idea. And with all the wetness around the pond and the dam, the fungi are thriving. Here in the slightly shady area, they seem to like it very well. This is also a place where we had a lot of straw, and the pigs were here, and unfortunately here in this very same area we also had to count some dead pigs when we had that problem with the soil-borne illness. So this area received a lot of nutrients. When we had the bovines in here, we did not do mob grazing. We just made sure that they won't nibble on the broad beans, but look how lush this looks like. So it appears that they did not come here, and it looks pretty nice. And we did not see any of that. A major part of our vegetation here is also clover. This is an example. I'm not really sure which one it is, but what is part of the Mediterranean seed mix is Trifolium subterraneum, and that is what we usually have all over the place. But correct me if I'm saying this wrong, but I would think that this is white clover because of the white markings here, but I may be wrong. Maybe you have several varieties. But it definitely is clover, and therefore we do have a lot of nitrogen fixation, which should help everybody else around. And again, we did not see any of that. Thanks to the mules and the small plow, we were able to have this plowed or tilled very close to the trees without damaging anything. I think I mentioned that before. It's basically the same as the pigs would do, but it is left a little bit fluffier than what the pigs would do, but it depends when you move them out and when you seed. So this is now prepared. The rainwater will continue to soak in, and now that the crust is open, it will probably also seep into the areas that usually are kept dry when the water flows over the crust downhill. So this is now supposed to be like this until the seeds show up, and then the work continues. Hopefully it won't be very long, but it's still a good thing because now there is more water into the ground because the ground is now open. And this is now right across, a little bit higher, and you can see this doesn't look very good. It also looks poorer than the area where the pigs have done all the work. So apparently working with pigs the right way by moving them is definitely the way to go. So there we have proof. This area is poor in comparison to our area where the pigs created a semi-desert, like it seemed at the time. I am already a little bit late, but light is still enough so that I can show you this. So this is the Swale in CT2 on top of the other one. So when I pan over, you will see in this bad light. So down there you can see the integrated pond in the other Swale. And this one here is also filled, but it is leaking, which is okay. This is what it should do. But it does hold more water than before because of the rains that we got. Now we have also worked with the mules on top of it, all the way to the line where the animal lane will then be. And the other area there is as it is, and it will stay as it is. And I already know, no need to go there now, that the little swale there, it's an older one, does not hold any water, but it slows it down. And here to the left, where the white flexible fence posts are, there is a clay-lined pond that holds water for long. But other than that, this is just a slowing down thing. And here's another Polovnia report. And as you can see, this one is already beginning to produce those very big leaves. This is another one that is resprouting at the very top. Looks very nice. Deep green color. Looks different than last year. They are beautiful creatures, but they also pose a risk and a problem. One thing is, they can be infected with tuberculosis and pass it on to our livestock. And the other challenge is that they might destroy our fencing. But that is something that's easy to fix, while tuberculosis is a huge problem.
Claro, mira cómo saltan. Como si nada, está en el orado.
Mm-hmm. Oh. That was it again for today. I hope you liked it, and I hope you enjoyed the show the deer put up. That is a very positive sign, but it's also a challenge. Please come back in a few days for another video.